Over a century and a half ago, inventors started working on an idea that would revolutionize how we use energy in our daily lives. The impact of this invention was far-reaching, influencing the design of buildings, extending work hours, and stimulating the growth of new industries. Moreover, it led to further energy-related advancements, including power plants, electric transmission lines, and electric appliances. Greetings, everyone! Today, I am going to take you on a journey back in time and give you a detailed account of the invention of the light bulb. Like all great inventions, the light bulb was not a result of a single inventor's work. Rather, it was a product of incremental improvements made to earlier inventions by various inventors. These developments have culminated in the modern light bulbs we use today. Before Thomas Edison's invention of the incandescent light bulb, British inventors had already demonstrated that electric light was possible using the arc lamp. The first constant electric light was demonstrated in 1835, and for the next 40 years, scientists all over the world worked on improving the incandescent lamp by experimenting with the filament and the bulb's atmosphere. However, these early bulbs had several issues such as short lifespans, high production costs, or high energy consumption. Edison and his team at Menlo Park labored to improve the filament, starting with carbon, then platinum, and eventually returning to carbon. By October 1879, they produced a light bulb that could last for 14.5 hours using a carbonized filament made of uncoated cotton thread. They continued experimenting with the filament until they landed on one composed of bamboo, which increased the lifetime of Edison's light bulb to 1,200 hours. This bamboo filament became the standard for Edison's bulbs for the next decade. Additionally, Edison improved the light bulb by creating a superior vacuum pump that removed air from the bulb completely and designing the Edison screw, which is now the standard socket fitting for light bulbs. Edison's contribution to electric lighting was remarkable because he didn't just improve the light bulb, but also created a range of inventions that made the use of light bulbs practical. Edison took inspiration from the existing gas lighting system and demonstrated that electricity could be distributed from a centrally located generator through a series of wires and tubes in 1882 with the Holborn Viaduct in London. At the same time, he worked on enhancing the generation of electricity and developed the first commercial power utility, the Pearl Street Station, in Lower Manhattan. Additionally, he developed the first electric meter to monitor the electricity consumption of each customer. As Edison was working on perfecting the electric lighting system, other inventors were also making incremental improvements to the filament and the efficiency of the incandescent bulb. One significant advancement was the invention of the tungsten filament in 1904, which produced brighter light and lasted longer than the carbon filament bulbs. Another significant discovery was made in 1913 by Irving Langmuir, who found that filling the bulb with an inert gas like nitrogen doubled its efficiency. Over the next 4 decades, scientists made continuous improvements to increase the efficiency and reduce the cost of the incandescent bulb. However, by the 1950s, researchers were only able to convert about 10% of the bulb's energy into light and began focusing on developing other lighting alternatives. In the 1920s and 1930s, researchers in Europe started experimenting with neon tubes coated with phosphors, which led to the development of fluorescent lamps. The U.S. began researching fluorescent lighting in the mid to late 1930s, and by 1939, American lighting companies were showcasing them to the U.S. and at the New York World's Fair. These lamps were more efficient and had longer lifespans than incandescent bulbs. During World War II, fluorescents were adopted by American war plants as an energy-efficient lighting solution. By 1951, more linear fluorescent lamps were used to produce light in the U.S. than any other lighting source. During the oil crisis of 1973, engineers focused on creating a fluorescent bulb that could be used in homes. Sylvania researchers in 1974 started to look into making a smaller ballast that could fit inside the bulb. Although they patented their design, they could not produce it cost-effectively. In 1976, Edward Hammer at General Electric found a way to bend the fluorescent tube into a spiral shape, creating the first compact fluorescent light. However, General Electric decided not to pursue the design because the machinery needed for mass production was too costly. CFLs entered the market in the mid-1980s, but their retail prices of $25 to $35 were considered high by consumers, and prices varied by region due to different promotions by utility companies. Consumers cited the high price as the main obstacle to purchasing CFLs. Furthermore, many CFLs were bulky, didn't fit well into fixtures, had low light output, and performed inconsistently. However, since the 1990s, CFLs have undergone significant improvements in performance, price, efficiency. They use about 75% less energy than incandescent, and lifetime, they last about 10 times longer, making them a viable option for both renters and homeowners. So, that was all on the history of the invention of the light bulb. It's amazing to think about how much impact one invention can have on the world. If you liked the video, do subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.